Call of Cthulhu 7th edition quick start rules. Here's how the game system works. So it's the player's job to say what their investigators are doing and the keeper's job to decide exactly which skill is most appropriate for the role. The keeper then decides on the difficulty level. Almost all skill rolls should just be normal difficulty levels. If we're climbing up to a second story window and there's drain pipes and ivy, that's just a regular difficulty level roll. If on the other hand it's a featureless wall and there are very few handholds, or maybe it's raining, then it could be a hard difficulty level. Extreme difficulty level rolls are reserved for things that are on the boundary of what is humanly possible, so they should only be used very occasionally. If the investigators are trying something which no skill particularly seems to apply to, then the keeper can fall back on characteristics and choose the most appropriate one, maybe size, strength, something like that. The investigators do not need to make a skill roll to sit at home and listen to their vinyl copy of Paul Whiteman and his orchestra. However, if they're wandering around the back streets of Innsmouth and something is creeping up on them, now's your time for a skill roll. The player then rolls percentage dice. Their aim is to roll equal to or under their whole skill if it's a normal difficulty level, half their skill if it's a hard difficulty level, or under a fifth of their skill if it was extreme difficulty level. If the player rolls those dice and gets equal to or less than the number they need, then they have succeeded in doing what they wanted to do. If they get more, then they failed and the keeper tells them what happens. If the player failed their skill roll, they get the chance to push the roll. The keeper can grant it if the player can justify it by saying what exactly their investigator is doing to continue to achieve their goal. The player rolls the skill roll again. If they succeed, they've achieved their goal. If they fail, the keeper gets to hit them with some kind of negative consequence. For the keeper, this is an opportunity to push the horror. So let's think back to that climb skill roll. If the player failed it the first time, the keeper could just say, well, you can't really find any handholds. And the player might decide, okay, well, I'm going to push the roll. I'm going to climb even though it feels really dangerous. But if they succeed in the pushed roll, they've climbed up to that window and they're in. All good. If they fail it, the keeper has options now. He can say, okay, well, you fall back down and take some damage. Pretty obvious. Or you can have something more unusual, like maybe a bunch of cultists turn up in a car just as the character's halfway up and they're kind of stuck. Or maybe they get up to the window and they open it only to have their arm grabbed by a ghoulish figure which pulls them in. In situations where you have two characters working in direct opposition, we have the opposed roll. To resolve an opposed roll, both sides, both characters make a skill roll, and the one with the best level of success, they're the winner. If there's something in the scene which gives a character a significant advantage or disadvantage, the keeper at their discretion can award a bonus die or a penalty die. If it was a bonus dice, you use the lower of the two tens dice to give a better result. If it was a penalty dice, you use the higher of the two tens dice to give a worse result. The keeper can award up to 2 bonus or penalty dice. Remember, 1 bonus dice cancels out 1 penalty dice. If you successfully use a skill during play, you get to tick that skill in the little box next to the skill name. At the end of the scenario, you get to roll to see if you improve in those skills that you've ticked. If you roll above the skill value, then you get to add 1d10 skill points to that skill. That's it, folks. Enjoy your game.
BlasphemousTomes.com